Hello, and welcome to the Performer's Guide. My name is Kristen Railing, and today we will be discussing Facebook. So I actually generate a lot of business traffic through lead generation in my Facebook groups. I also have a Facebook page, and I utilize my personal page also for generating leads for business, but far and wide, personally, I get a lot of work through my Facebook groups. The first Facebook group I created was Circus Mafia. You can see I have 7,300 members. This is just a basic Facebook group. I have connected it to Circus Mafia, the page. And so if you have a business page, you can create different branded groups and it can still have your business brand below it and let people know that this group is by your company. And you can also see down below in the bottom right, I could click through and change how I interact with the profiles. And the strategy that I utilized for Circus Mafia was when I first started, it was just me and I wanted to get my name out there. And I also wanted to expand my offerings and services and start to include more people that I maybe didn't know of, but I didn't necessarily want to do auditions or applications as such. I just wanted to create a group, a place where people with similar interests, circus, could come and share their posts of different circus related things that they've been working on. And this in turn turned into people posting job opportunities into this group and upcoming events. And what ended up happening was I was able to leverage these groups, this group, to audition for these jobs and kind of cut in and be able to see them before other people would, because I was the one approving the posts, and was able to start to generate an agency through this, because I would see different people would have different events coming up and I'd find out what they needed. And then on the other hand, I had other people who were posting their amazing acts. And so I just ended up being a connector of people. And then I sort of became known for someone who would connect multiple performers with multiple gigs. And then what would end up happening is, as people started posting in the group, it started creating this amazing brand that I didn't have to fully create myself, that I was letting other people use their image to represent my generically branded group, Circus Mafia, which just happened to be the same name as my business. So when someone who was a potential client would come and look through the images, they'd be like, wow, this is really great. I love this. And they would click on something and say, oh, I'd love to work with that person. And then I could contact that person and get them work. And it just sort of happened seamlessly. And it has been really fun to watch this group grow all the way to 7,000 members. And then what happened was I sold my business and I started the Performer's Guide. And so we'll go over here to the Performer's Guide. You can see I have 2,000 members. I just started this group about 1.5 years ago. And I like to get my group growth organically and not through paid ads or overtly spamming other groups. I just sort of let it organically, word of mouth, people invite, or I'll invite people, or Facebook will suggest. And the the purpose of this group was when I had sold Circus Mafia, I realized that people who were in Circus Mafia and the circus performers and other performers that I knew had a need of more business-minded questions. And they had questions about starting their business or operating their business. And so I created the Performer's Guide to be a place of more questions and community where people can ask questions and get answers from other like-minded business owners within our niche. And so you can see here, this is organic. You can see how many other people are posting, and it's a little bit of me sharing as well. And at first it was all just me sharing. I was the only one sharing, but then you'll get traction and more people will start to post as well. And so when I first opened the group, I just invited other people who were within our niche, and I didn't immediately sell to them because A, I didn't actually know what my services were, but B, I didn't want to scare away my new potential market and potential clients by being aggressively salesy, and also remembering that everything's an exchange of energy. And if I want them to give me their monetary energy, I need to give them my energy, which was in the form of compiling resources and videos, articles, blogs, and also sharing funny memes like these to alleviate the mood, to pull us together. And so this helps generate community as well as compiles resources together for us to all utilize and allows people to find the answers that they need to succeed for their business. And then I started splicing in sales. Once I started utilizing and realizing what it is that people actually needed, then I started compiling that and then representing it as a product or service that I could offer to them in here. And so I started just sharing content and allowing other people to share content. And then I slowly started realizing that people were starting to share the same topics. And so I started, actually, you can turn on your post topics and start to create topics that people can post within and tag them. And then if someone clicks on it, they can just easily go to that specific topic in your group. And then once you start getting a lot of those, then, and if you're an informationally based group, then you can start to utilize what are called guides. You can see it there on the left, which takes the topics to like a whole nother dimension in which you can create a guide and then lectures within those guides on specific topics of interest for people within your niche. And what you can do actually is, so the Circus Mafia was just a basic group, but I've actually changed the Performer's Guide groups into what's called learning groups. You can see there, it says group type social learning. And so when I click on that, you can actually see how there's multiple different types of groups that you can create for your business, whether you sell items or buy, hire people, different types of jobs, or there's also a couple other ones, gaming and parenting, that you could utilize. But for me, the buy and sell, social learning, and jobs within our niches, I feel that you can easily monetize groups for your business. And so you have a few options with your groups. You can make them public or private, which means anyone can see what's being posted, or what's being posted is not visible. I recommend for a community group to have them public so that people can share your posts, which will draw in organic traffic. And it'll also allow more people to gain benefit from the information that you're sharing. You can also have what's called a visible or hidden group. And this is whether or not people can find the group in a search bar. And so for my community group, I have it public and visible because I want people to be able to easily access, enter, and get the information from my group. You can also customize things like the color of your group so it can be well branded, and ask questions within your niche that can start to gauge needs and interests in your services. And I highly recommend utilizing the questions and changing them up and figuring out which ones can help you best find the needs of your market that's in here. Now, this is a free public community group, and I really love having these groups because it allows me to market to my niche in a way that I know these people are actually interested in my services. When I'm on my Facebook page, my personal page, I have a lot of people from all walks of life, all different types of people with different interests, and many of them would actually not want to be marketed to my performance stuff on a long-term basis. They would probably feel inundated by it. And it's what I call just kind of screaming into the void on Facebook, of just yelling out like, oh, I have services to anybody. And a bunch of people who are walking by in the marketplace of Facebook are not interested. Instead, the Performers Guide group, I know these people in this group want me to post these specific types of posts. And so it allows me to market easier to people than it would if I was just posting out into the world. Now, when I have a Facebook group, a public one, over time, you'll start to gauge the needs of the people in the group. And this can allow you to start to leverage that to create what are now called guides, which also create online courses and other ways to monetize your knowledge and package it in a way that you can represent it in the group, because they've already expressed the needs through the questions that they've asked. And then now you can just package it and represent it to them. And so what I love about Facebook is that it allows you to have multiple groups. And what I do is I have a Patreon. And so I like to connect my Patreon with my Facebook in a way that if someone signs up for my Patreon or is paying for any service, which is $25 a month or more, they get access to this Backstage Pass group, which gives access to more of my content. And so as opposed to it being like community resources, it's more specifically driven to the direct needs of people who have giving me a little bit more of their financial energy. So I'll give them a little bit more of my energy. And so what I do is I have this one be private. You can see there it's private. And this means that not everyone can see what's in this group. And this group, I have more information that I give that's kind of just a little bit more VIP. And so this group is $25 a month. And then I also have my mastermind group. And so this group is for people who are committed to the program for the whole year, and they're going to get access to all of my information and everything that I'm teaching throughout the year. And you can see there's less members in here, but they're paying at least $200 to $400 for access to not only just the articles and videos, but now group coaching, one-on-one, and more personalized templates, and access to information that they need. And so these are ongoing groups that have different pay structures that people will pay, and they can join and leave at any time and get the information that they need. So the next thing that you can do is create, and this is what I've been doing, is create individual courses. So once you have a group and you can gauge the needs of the people, and then you can start to give them information and then give them more information, you can start to like categorize it in a way where you can create a one-off course where it could either be 1 day to 1 week, or like an 8-week course on some particular topic. And then you create what's called a pop-up group. And so these groups are active and then not active. And there'll be what's called archived, where it'll be lots of input being generated and then done. And so it's just a class. It's essentially a classroom that you use for a short time in Facebook. And so one of the programs that I ran just a few weeks ago was called Get Your Act Together. So I opened the group, we had people in here, we were running the modules, and then now it's done. And so when it's not active, I just post little things in between to keep engagement going, but it's otherwise inactive. Woohoo, and we finished it. And so this one was a 21-day pop-up group. The digital business strategies will be a 5-day pop-up group. It was just up, it's done, it'll close down for a little while, and then I'll open up a different one to give different types of information. And so when we're in a group and we have created, let's say, a pop-up group, and we want to create a week course or some short-term offering, we can do what's called creating guides. And you can see here I have created a few guides, and this is the digital business strategy course that we're in right now. And you can see that I have multiple guides for different topics. And so I was just posting different topics, and then over time I had enough that I realized, oh, I could give a whole course on this. And so Patreon was my most recent one that I created the course with, and you can see I still need to complete it here with the remaining ones. And what you want to do is you want to think of the guide as like a book and the lectures as the chapters, And so what I do is I'll just create 5 to 10 guide topics and then a few lectures for each one. And the way that Facebook looks, it's nice to at least have 3 lectures, because see how it shows 3 each. And so you just create little topics within that theme. And so what you want to do is on the top there, it says create a guide, and we'll just call it guide. Boop. And there it is. And then we can create a post. And then once you create a post within the guide, see how it just says new post? you can hit the 3 dots on the right, and you can actually change the name of the post. Oops. It says edit title. So you want to edit the title. Bam. So you got your guide, and you got your posts, and then the title. And so one thing to note when you are creating your guides, that if, see the ones down here? Okay, this is actually a really good example. See how I actually put a post into the guide, but I haven't into the Instagram, YouTube, or test? I now won't be able to. And so you actually need to make sure that you put the post in order. Otherwise, at least for the first one. And so I have to at least have one in Instagram before I go to YouTube, and so on. And then once there's one in each, then it doesn't matter. You can put them in any order. So that's just one little tip, because I messed that up in real life on my first group that I made. I was like, oh no. So don't be like me on that one. Okay, great. And so this is kind of a walkthrough of my Facebook strategy. I like to create a community group. It's a free community group. It's public. It's open access. People can share information. Everyone can share in there. And then once you can start to gauge the needs of people, you can let them know they can get more access to you in some type of backstage, different group where they're paying to be there to have more of your resources. And then you can also create pop-up groups, which can be open for short-term or long-term use. And you can leverage any of these for financial gain. And the great thing about it is you have people now paying $25 a month to $400 a month, and then people paying lump sum to be in just a pop-up group. And so I'm able to get several hundred a month for my ongoing groups. And then when I make a pop-up group, you just can do some math and decide how much money you're trying to generate from the pop-up group. And then I've seen them make several $1,000s per group per launch. And so I love the strategy, and I highly recommend for you to use it for your business as well. My name is Kristen Rayleigh, and this is the Performer's Guide. I hope this helped you have a little bit more of an understanding of how to leverage Facebook for your business. Thank you.